This is a Q&A that someone had with Fenn. At the very start of the page, we start out with someone saying that he's going to finish one of Fenn's quotes. He says, "It's true in Hollywood, it's true in politics, and it's true with the painting. It doesn't matter who you are, it's who they think you are. That's a good first rule." Fenn says, well, a salesman, doesn't matter how good the aluminum pan is, it only matters how good he can make you think it is. If he can make you think it's really great, he can sell it to you. I said also in my book that no salesperson has ever been accused of understating, and I believe that. So no salesperson has ever been accused of underselling their product. They tend to embellish it, probably beyond its true merits. They lie. They lie. Call it embellishment. I love that. I caught someone lying once, many, many years ago. And I caught him and I was able to prove it. And the guy goes, well, I tend to embellish because it makes it more interesting. I tend to embellish. He lied. And I caught him, and his way of looking at it is, well, I'm making it more entertaining for everyone, embellishing. I think a lot of people probably do that, but we're getting off point. Fenn says we're all charlatans to some degree. Maybe that's what I should call it, Fenn the charlatan. See, but I don't want to take away from the fact that Fenn has done a wonderful thing and that I think the poem's totally valid. But the way he has sold this poem, this whole chase, is another thing. I think I don't really know how to discuss what I think of what Fenn has done. I think the poem is very valid. I'm sticking with the poem primarily. I've got to tell you, folks, I get very little out of the books. The books almost confuse me, just like people have said, don't listen to vlogs and blogs. Those confuse me. Little things impress me. If Fenn says, well, a couple of people have figured out the first 2 clues and then went right past the other 7, the books kind of confuse me, and the vlogs and the blogs kind of confuse me. But when he says things like, some people have made it to the first 2 clues, but then walked right past the treasure following the other 7, that for me was a big clue from an interview, because I knew that he was telling me the 7 clues are now that's the small portion of the poem. I'm not sure he meant to say that, but he said it, and so that told me a lot. Fenn says we're all charlatans to some degree, about ourselves. I thought that one time that women are fakes themselves. They wear lipstick and mascara. They're misrepresenting the product. That's one way of, wow. This guy says, well, there's an art to that, Forrest. Fenn laughs. That's right. Mills, I don't know who Mills is. Is this a woman or a guy? And then repeats, there's an art to that. Fenn says, propagates the thrill of the chase. Women wearing makeup. It's kind of funny. This person says, yes, exactly. But the whole thing about what is real art and what is fake art and forgeries, one of my favorite aspects of your other line of business, which is Native American artifacts, is the coyote trickster who lies to bring you the truth. So if you ultimately arrive at the truth, does it matter how you got there? Fenn says, this is getting kind of intellectual for me, but Fenn then says, which all societies have had fetishes. They're called different things, but with American Indians, there are a lot of different fetishes, and the fetish is not worth anything unless you believe in it. But if you believe in it, it can be awesome. Interviewer says, yeah. Fenn says the most primitive tribes, even in New Guinea and the Amazon Judge, they all have fetishes of one kind or another. Very important. All religions today have fetishes. They don't call them that, but that's what they are. It's important that we believe. Kind of reminds me, I've said a couple times, this whole Forrest Fenn Treasure Hunt reminds me of a religion, because it's all about believing. You can read the blogs and the blogs, and people almost get in arguments about believing this. Whether you should really believe it. People like to call it a hoax and tell people like me that it's a hoax and I'm stupid. Just like people who say they don't believe in religion say it's stupid. And I'm not big on religion, but I mean, I tend to not tell people I think they're foolish for whatever their religion is. Because I kind of have a spiritual way of looking at stuff. I know some people, that's a cop-out, whatever, doesn't matter. Oh, this person says their academic work was shamanism. The coyote trickster who lies to bring you the truth. So is that what Fenn has done at times? Lie to bring us the truth? He has almost said as much. The clues are in the poem. The hints are in the book. Now, what's the difference between clues and hints? I would say veracity. A hint is much broader than a clue, right? A clue is a very distinct thing. Hints are vaguer to me. Yeah, well, distinctly they are, because people misinterpret hints much more than clues. People get clues and they go, that's a clue. But hints are kind of like, well, I think I was being told to do this or that. I'm not sure. It was kind of more of a hint. Fenn says, I worked on the poem on and off for a few years because I had to change it. I thought it was going to die. So the initial part of my poem said something like, leave my bones alone, take the chest and go in peace. But then I got, I ruined the story. So I had to change that, and I've said before the poem was really written by an architect. Every word is placed in there strategically, and you can't ignore any of the nouns in that poem. That's absolutely right from what I have figured out. Fenn says, follow-up. But what puzzles people is that I've written 10 books, and in each of these books I've made up words. This is not the poem. This is the books. All these books, I don't even have them all. I mean, I don't even know them all. I just know I have Thrill the Chase, that's it. Thrill the Chase confused me. It was interesting. I found it was interesting to learn about Forrest Fenn, his upbringing, all that kind of stuff. Some things I didn't know why they were brought up in the books. Just these kind of little side stories that never have made sense to me. Like the time he gets lost with Donnie and stuff, and they keep talking about the narrowing. I come to realize, well, maybe that's an indicator. It's like the subliminal clues, but they're not clues, they're hints. And why are things getting narrow? Why does he make a point of telling you how this stream gets narrower and narrower and narrower? Or maybe sometime in the chase you'll find yourself in a stream that's getting narrower and narrower and narrower. And maybe you'll go, oh, that's right, I remember that from the book. And you'll go, I'm on the right track. I don't know why he does these things, but he does them. The poem is, every word in the poem is strategically placed like an architect laying a brick or an architect making a blueprint where here's the door and here's the stairs. Everything is precise. Not so with the books. The books are, as he has said, I've made up words, I corrupt words. He's talking about the books. In each one of my books, I've made up words and I corrupt words. For instance, in my Thrill of the Chase book, I talk a lot about courting my wife and say, everybody knew she was too good for me, but tenacity was never one of my shortcomings. I mean, it's a terrible corruption on that word. But my point is, if everybody knows exactly what you're saying or what you mean, then who cares what the word is? And so that thought permeates, manifests itself in the poem. Well, what does that word really mean? Does he mean what it says it means? And so that puts a little dessert on top of the cake. Well, now I just said that it's, you know what? This happens every time I do these videos. I will have a point to make, and I'm forced, and I will read things to get to the point. And then when I'm literally in the middle of the video, I'll read something that blows whatever I was saying out of the water. It's happened more than once. I thought that he was always saying the books are where he corrupts things, but the poem is very precise. And he literally says now, I mean, it's a terrible corruption of that word, but my point is, if everybody knows exactly what you're saying or what you mean, then who cares what the word is? And so that thought permeates, manifests itself in the poem. What does that word really mean? Does he mean what it says it means? And so that adds, put a little dessert on top of the cake. The interviewer says exactly it does. Yeah, it makes it more fun for sure. We're talking about the god poem and the books he's written about it, and his idea of fun and games is to put in words that don't even mean what they normally mean. I'm not stopping looking because I think I have found this key way of looking at things in the poem that made it much more real and understandable. But at the same time, I could still be now stepping, instead of forward, maybe sideways. And, I'm not any better off than I was. I just think I am. Because of his gamesmanship. I was really shocked just now to read that. I don't know if you can tell. I thought the poem was sacrosanct. I thought the poem was sacrosanct. I thought the poem, everything was exactly what it says it is. And I thought the books were kind of, the books were kind of open to interpretation more. And now he says that thought permeates the poem. Well, I'm going to continue on anyway. Yeah, that's what makes it fun. It's like, where? What could that mean? Where? Because when I was reading that, I was like, that doesn't make sense. That word, where, was where it is. So what does that mean, and why is it there? I'm going to assume we're talking about this line. I can keep my secret where in hint of riches new and old. It doesn't say I can keep my secret where, question mark. It says I can keep my secret where, comma. I can keep my secret where in hint of riches new and old. Yeah, it's not the way you normally use the word where, although I believe if you look it up in the dictionary, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct it in the editing, but I believe where can also mean, well, where can mean there, right? The treasure is over there. Over there? Where? There. Where is there? That's where it is. It's there. It just depends on how you read the word. And Fenn, by his own admission, is saying, I just play with the words. You wonder why this thing hasn't been found in 8 or 9 years. It's because the whole thing is a big mind game. By Fenn's own admission, it is a mind game. Well, he's never called it a mind game. Here's where I got that from. So after he says, but the point is, if everybody knows exactly what you're saying or what you mean, then who cares what the word is? And so that thought, well, first of all, we don't know what you mean. Listen to what he just said. But my point is, this is Fenn, but my point is, if everybody knows exactly what you're saying, who in the hell knows exactly what Fenn is saying? He is playing this game where he corrupts words and he corrupts meanings. He corrupts thoughts, basically. And he says here, but if everybody knows exactly what you're saying or what you mean, who cares what the word is? Well, if you're trying to tell me where a treasure is, I'd say it's pretty goddamn important what the word is. I mean, if you're saying north, you know, it's north of here, and by north you mean going straight up in the air as opposed to going literally north, or he's used north in the sense of time, like he is older than I am, his age is north of me, which I've heard one time. You know, it's like, well, geez, which meaning of the word am I mean? That's fine. That's fine of what he's doing, but the problem is this. I don't know that. I don't know that. That does not make an exact sense to me.